Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have another curious case of the missing and forgetful PlayStation 5, where we're actually now seeing people going and saying that they literally own a PlayStation 5, but very conveniently forget that they just even own it in the first place, where they just don't hate it, they don't like it, they don't utilize it, they think the console stinks or whatever it is. And I've kind of read through this stuff, and I always bring this up. A lot of these, I think these articles are just here just to upset, specifically, literally me. Like, I feel like these people are literally writing these words just for me to go and read them in the future, just for me to go get upset about it, so I can make a video about it. So they watch this video, and then they go and sit there giggling and laughing with their morning cup of coffee as they're seeing me talk about it and freaking out. Because some of these things are always so stupid that I feel like I have to go and talk about. And now, there always is valid critiques or other valid types of things brought up, and I don't want to ever dissuade that, but sometimes you read this stuff and you just wonder who actually even wanted to go and write this in the first place. So a lot of stuff to go talk about, and like I said, the very curious case of forgetfulness of even owning a PlayStation 5. So we're going to probably dissect this one a little bit, and I hope you guys are all ready to roll up your sleeves like I am, because this one's going to be an interesting one as well. If any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller. We have the PlayStation 5 giveaway, the Twitter link down below, so click on that. And as well, we also have a bunch of Xboxes up in stock in case you guys forget about your PS5, want to get one up on Best Buy. They're linked down below. And like I said, all the Weeble and Coinbase, Amazons, all that stuff always down below. And let's go and talk about it. So as I mentioned, these articles I feel like are the most tilting thing out there. And it's over here from Metro, where literally we have now people stating they bought the PlayStation 5, but then obviously forgot they had it. So you already know this is going to be a good one. So basically we have this one, a reader admitting to temporary forgetting he even owns the PlayStation 5 and complains that's because all of its games look too much like PS4 titles. I mean, I really wonder why any games from the PS4 might look somewhat similar to the PlayStation 5, but maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. A strange thing happened to me the other day. I was reading the news about Returnal cleaning up at the BAFTAs, and thought to myself, that didn't really appeal before, but I guess I should try and give it a chance if I ever get a PS5. Problem is, I've actually owned one since last Christmas. Off this, after that comment alone, I almost feel bad, like, me even making this video. Because, like, what if this guy, like, maybe they should go see a doctor. Maybe they gotta go and, like, write some stuff down. Maybe they have to have their eyes checked. I don't know. You can probably hear my PS5 literally right here. I have my controller literally right next to me. I kind of know when I bought it. It's $500. It's kind of a lot of money to go get in the first place. So they're basically saying, hey, they keep on forgetting and keep on thinking that they still only had a PlayStation 4, which I think sums up this generation pretty neatly. Now, very first and foremost, I've talked about this on the channel, I understand the concept of a lot of these games are still cross-gen. Like, we have, like, God of War, PS4 and PS5, Gran Turismo, PS4, PS5, Horizon, PS4, PS5. Like, it makes sense. Like, it's just a lot of production issues from that awkward middle gen. A lot of the games can still be developed, although maybe not slightly as better graphics or better loading times, obviously. But, like, it's still there. Like, we still know it's there. But the one struggle is, though, if you actually own a PS5, it is really a big night and day difference. There's just the loading times, which I'm sure they're going to probably even complain about, one of the best things out there. But it is really big. Like, if you're sitting there trying to wait like a 20-second comparison to, say, Horizon versus 1 second, guess what? That adds up. And maybe I just know it better because I'm a Twitch streamer. So those awkward, like, 20 seconds during a loading time, you gotta kind of fill the silence. So maybe I'm more familiar with it. Now, if you're sitting on your couch and comfy or taking a glass of water, whatever, it's not the biggest deal. But the loading times are absolutely crazy. And also in terms of also just proper RAM, where the game itself micro-centers a lot less in terms of overall graphics and more so options. I always say options are a big thing, where even say for Horizon, there is like 5 different ways you guys can basically go and customize the game. Same with Ratchet and Clank in terms of resolution, when it comes to game, when it comes to like fluidity, and I think that's a bigger thing. And I always want to kind of push, too, when it comes to PC. I'm going to probably use a lot of PC references here. If, say, for me, I just recently upgraded my PC from a 2080 to a 3080 Ti. Basically, nothing changed. Really, honest to God, nothing really did. Basically, my graphics got a little bit better, and I got slightly better frames, but my 2080 was already running at a pretty consistent over 60 frame base. Now, with the 3080 Ti, I'm able to go run maybe a little bit more of like a consistent, well, over 100. And at the end of the day, it's not really changing too much. But that's kind of what the whole point of these consoles are. It's just a small micro increase at this day and age. I think it's long since then, since we'll be able to have a chance to go and see like a PS1 to PS2 or PS2 to PS3, huge graphical changes. And now there's going to be a lot more subtle things, think like RTX or water movements or everything else tied on in. But right now, I do think the big thing is that it's more on the loading times, more on like how big the games are, and especially open world of how much can be shown in an open world in general. And I can go guarantee you, by playing both Ghost of Tsushima on PS4 and PS5, there is a very big difference. And if you want to sit through and play through the entire game, feel free to, because you guys will probably see it neck and neck. It runs a lot better, or a lot smoother, and a lot more efficiently on the PS5. So for them, they're at least making it clear that it's not just a PS5 versus Xbox thing, which I do appreciate. I feel that topic is so overdone, although it's always going to be brought up throughout the next few years. I've never even owned an Xbox, and have zero interest in the Xbox Series X, which seems to suffer from the same problems I'm about to lay out, but even worse. I don't say that in disgust, as someone doing to have like a rival product for Sony, but simply because they just never liked the Microsoft exclusives, which I can always respect too, at least they're being honest. That's not what they want to talk about though. They want to talk about the massive non-event this generation has been so far. And I will actually agree with this. Although not to the point where I'm forgetting I even own a PlayStation 5 too as well, because he's literally, I'm not sure if this person just worded this weird, they're literally saying I'm still using its predecessor, is that nothing I played on the new machine has seemed in any way next gen. And maybe they're just not trying, I don't know, because I really do think it's the quality of life bump. Like, maybe I'm just more used to it as a PC guy myself, maybe console people have bigger expectations, but you also have to remember a PS4 to PS4 Pro to PS5, it's a lot of mid-series jumps. But if you wanted to go and pull up pictures in comparison to, say, Gran Turismo 7 on PS4 and PS5, it's huge. Or even say for Horizon PS4 to Horizon PS5 by itself, like the baseline consoles, it's a lot bigger than expected. And don't forget too, this also does time with loading times, as well as also how much is on the map, resolutions especially. Because don't forget, maybe just not utilizing a 4K like TV. Maybe. I mean, there's always a lot of these little small things tied in. It's almost like the same thing as someone complains about maybe like their monitor not being like 300 frames when they're using like a 60 hertz monitor. Like at that point, you need to have a better monitor to be able to go utilize it. Same with the TV. You need to have a nice, proper, like smart 4K TV to utilize this new next gen tech. Or it's the same thing like using like, say, like maybe an iPhone. You need to go and have a newer iPhone for a lot of different other various technology. If you're trying to use an iPhone 3 versus an iPhone 9, the jump is a lot more noticeable. But an iPhone 8 to an iPhone 9 was not as big, for kind of a case in point. So the things for this one, I think the problem is more the ultra fast loading times for games like Ghost of Tsushima on PS4, which completely undermines what is almost only tangible improvement for new generations. But once again, I want to use the same PC comparison. You don't need to have these huge jumps because we're already at a point where these things are running pretty good. And a lot of the improvements will be nominal, but a lot of quality of life stuff, as well as also a lot of loading times, or even say controller things in general. And I'll once again use the open world example. A lot of things are more so just showing more and loading faster and being more streamlined. And I think that's a better concept. Because once again, for PC, a lot of people go and update every single GPU drive from like a 1080 to a 2080 to a 3080 to a 4080, and they're not going to be seeing the biggest improvements, especially if you guys aren't using this next-gen technology, like think 4K, 8K, higher hertz monitors, whatever it is. And I think that's a bigger thing too, is that I will stand by a 144 hertz to 200 hertz gameplay with a monitor like that is way more noticeably different than a 60 to like 144. Just the amount of frames, the amount of refresh rates, and everything else is huge to see. And now the SSD is nice, don't get me wrong, but I really think just higher frames and as well as better resolutions are a big deal. Like, this is a big change. Or maybe people just have their expectations up too high, because the PS4 was and is extremely well optimized to the point that we're still even having God of War and Horizon still doing great. And all these people are saying, like, what does it even mean if you're already screaming at the screen? Why are you even screaming at this? It just kind of makes you seem kind of weird. Like this person doesn't even know they have a PS5 at this point. It almost seems like they're just making up this article and being like, it's not that good. How do we even know they even have it at the end of the day? And like at this point, like I'm just assuming they're still playing on a PS4 or PS4 Pro and they're just hoping for the best. The other benefit for the PS5 is naturally better graphics. Duh. But there's already a little evidence for this, because it's actually pretty big. You just have to look side by side. If you guys ever want to show up the two between itself, like I mentioned, there's a pretty big difference. But it's more so on the very subtleness of it. Like, you really have to look. Like, a lot of the ground environments or plant environments, facial features, water reflects, like lighting, everything tied into it, that's like a lot of the bigger bones of when it comes to these graphics. And now if you're not like having a magnifying glass staring at a random wall, you're not going to really appreciate it. But if you're someone who's playing on a bigger TV, or as well just are more observant, like you kind of stare at it, you can 100% tell the big difference. And like it's kind of the big thing when it comes like, say, a PS3 to PS4. You have a late gen PS3 game into a PS4 title, it's not going to look that much crazy, but that's just because the developers are so optimized and basically work magic as they're doing it, which is really cool. And a lot of these people are also trying to go and say like the PS5 versions for some of these games are better, and you need a YouTube expert to point out why. But that's not true at all. Like, I think any normal person does not need someone like a me or someone else talking about why a certain game is better, or why this certain thing is better, or why this or this or this is better. And I'm kind of somewhat trying to just to kind of make fun of this article, but like this is once again the same comparison as someone playing like, say, Apex Legends, Call of Duty, like NBA 2K on a 1080 on PC, and then they switch to a 2080, and they're literally playing the same exact game, just maybe slightly better frames. It's like, what are you trying to expect here? Literally, the games are meant to be run and optimized for both of these. Now, if you want to go maybe compare it to, say, Ratchet and Clank, which they have not really been doing too much of it to as well. Like they mentioned it like the next line, but like that game was phenomenal. You compare that game to any game on the PS4 in terms of environments, in terms of people, in terms of just everything going on, actions, clarity, everything. It's a phenomenal game. And while I do want to kind of agree that a lot of the PS4 games are still kind of holding back a lot of progression, and we are kind of in this awkward lull still. Like I can 100% agree on that, and I do agree on that 1000%. There is a big difference. It feels different. If any of you guys have upgraded the PS5 from PS4, you guys can probably vouch down below. Now, obviously, there's still going to be those little caveats, and I still think it'll take another 2 or 3 years for it to fully shine and fully appear PS5s. And I do think it is kind of holding us back. But at the end of the day, Sony themselves is holding back everything because they're not just producing and making enough consoles for us to finally make that huge leap to PS5. So, when it comes to this stuff too, but like a lot of this stuff, for me, this person's just like calling the games boring, not liking it, and that's just more of a subject of opinion. But when it comes to stuff like hardware, when it comes to graphics, when it comes to loading times, when it comes to everything else, that's kind of just objectively way better for someone who actually owns the console itself. And while they at least have been also enjoying the fact that they don't have, they have a nice controller, they enjoy it, this person I think is just too hard stuck in maybe the glory days of the PS4, because they're literally even saying, hey, if I was been holding this a little bit longer, I would have maybe remembered you using a PS5 controller. Like, this person just kind of seems like too much in the heyday, or just too much focus on the fact that the PS4 was pretty good, which it pretty much was, I'll be honest with it. And, well, yeah. And now they're also sassing over here with the SSDs, being able to enable new way of designing levels too as well. What's wrong with that? I think it's going to be great too as well. And besides the fact that a lot of these are going to be cross-gen, it's just a nice extra benefit. And as time goes on, you will at some point need to go and switch to next gen. This is how it works. The PS3 at some point was outdated, you had to go to PS4. PS1 at some point was outdated, you had to go to PS2. And basically this whole kind of just thing kind of seems and reads like a bunch of nonsense for someone who really didn't spend more than 5 minutes on their console and maybe regrets their decision. So kind of give me your thoughts and comments down below as well. Just enjoy your console, or just don't even get it. If you don't get it, that's fine. Just go and sell it or something, go return it back to where you bought it from. It's not a big deal. The games are cool, the SSD is cool, the graphics improvements are definitely notable. Go buy a better TV, or at least a higher hertz monitor if you want to see it. If not, that's no big deal. Just don't complain about it. It's not the end of the world. And sadly, it's not cool. But I do want to agree, though, on the end of the day, that they really should be pushing towards next gen more, focusing on the bigger titles, and not to go and completely get rid of PS4s, but also to kind of finally make that jump to next gen. I will always stand by that too as well, but at the end of the day, some of this was nonsense, some of it was a little bit weird, and these are probably specifically always made for me just to rile me on up. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch stream as well, link down below, the Weeble Coinbase down below, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching, for existence, for everything. Y'all beautiful and cute, and I'll see you guys later on throughout today for more videos.